Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16 millimeter films. I was rushing to adjust. There was a lot of light bleed that was messing with things. Anyways, let's take a break from the headlines just
Hello,
for
everybody.
an
Welcome
hour
to
or
the
so,
AV Geeks Lunchtime.
and let's watch some old 16 millimeter films. This next film has E.G. Marshall in it, and he talks about the part that you play. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm E.G. Marshall. You know, in my time as an actor, I've played a lot of different roles. I've had big parts and small parts. But right now, I'm about to try a new role. And it may turn out to be the most important part I've ever played, at least as far as your own community is concerned. I'm going to take the part of someone who's calling on you in person on behalf of some of your neighbors, people who aren't quite as lucky, perhaps, as you and your family. I want to try to show you what these people mean to you, and more important, what you mean to them. In other words, I'm going to play the part of a volunteer worker for your united campaign in your own community. All right. Well, now, first of all, as a good volunteer, I've already made my own fair share pledge. Now, let's see if I've got everything to get into character. Campaign information, pledge cards, stickers, pins, and a list of people I'm going to see. Who are they? Never mind the names. They're people in this community. All kinds of people. You included. Now, where do I go? Wherever you are. How do I get there? Well, don't worry about that. In this day and age, you can get anywhere pretty fast.
Well, let's start with this. When I give to the United Fund, what happens to the money?
Okay. Naturally, you want to know where your United Fund dollars go, what they do, whom they help. But the fact is, that money does so much for so many, it's a little hard to know where to begin. But maybe here's a good place. This is the face of tomorrow, our kids, our hope, our future. What they become depends on primary influences of home, family, synagogue, church, and school. But they need other influences to learn how to play together and work together and get on with each other in all situations and at all ages. Your fair share helps keep these other influences going so that whatever they become, they'll be more than just craftsmen, good workers, skilled professionals. We expect more than that from our kids. We want them to become good citizens, good parents. So what can we do about it? We adults, I mean? Well, a lot of people help support youth agencies by volunteering time and abilities. But all of us help with our united campaign pledges.
Sure, all these things for children are great. My own kids use them. But how about the other folks, the ones that already have big trouble?
Of course, it's not just youth that benefits from your united campaign gift. Troubles, misfortune, disease. No age has a monopoly on misery.
Well, that's right, but give me a for instance.
All right. Take this man, an accident victim who has the task of learning to live a productive, useful life without hands. Or this woman who won't give up though she's had a stroke. Or this young fellow. Or little kids like these.
Well, look, I don't mind helping, but is there really any future for people like that?
Of course there is. And what's more, by helping such people, we're helping our community. They don't want to become public charges. They want the dignity of being self-sufficient. We simply give them a start, and they take it from there. The people who work with them look at it like this.
The goal of the rehabilitation team is to help make emotionally and physically disabled patients as independent as they possibly can become. This takes a great deal of time and effort on the part of the patient, his family, and the therapist. This time and effort also takes a great deal of money, and this is where you can come in. Through your financial support, you can help us to help these people become independent and useful citizens once again.
Of course, there are other kinds of disabilities, you know, other than physical ills.
I don't follow you. What do you mean, other kinds of disability?
Okay, let me show you.
This is where people get help when they're really at the bottom of the ladder, those you know as down and outers. That man in there, in case you think certain people are born on the skids, was a successful businessman. His entire family was killed in an accident. Twice he tried to kill himself, and twice he was brought here. Then he decided his life would mean something again if he stayed here and helped us help others. Those others could be people who don't remember who they are. Families who need help in a lot of ways. And people who feel all alone with their troubles. That gives you a little idea of the Salvation Army.
Brigadier.
Excuse me.
Individual personal disaster can strike any of us, at any time, at any place. Just as mass disaster can come too. Your fair share has to work to relieve the suffering left in the wake of natural catastrophe caused by fire, wind, and water too, wherever they hit. Now maybe you already know this, but just let me spell it out again. Those on the scene, those doing the job, are the volunteer workers of the Red Cross. Whatever people need, the Red Cross will provide. Training in first aid, water safety, and all the other Red Cross services are supported by your fair share gift.
But there's such a lot to be done. How can my little contribution be of much help?
It isn't just your contribution. It's all the contributions together. When everybody gives his fair share, we have the means to tackle any of our problems.
Uh-huh. But what I keep wondering is, how do they decide where to spend the money so it'll do the most good?
That's the great part. The needs of your community are determined by a committee of your own neighbors, the people who live right there and know the situation firsthand. And your fair share not only provides needed services here, it helps to carry on the work for our neighbors, friends, and youth in the military forces. The USO, for instance, is supported entirely by gifts and United Campaign funds. It's dedicated to letting the boys out there know that we care back here. Under USO sponsorship, artists and entertainers willingly volunteer their talent to augment the regular professional units sent to bases all over the world every week. Only those out there know what it means to hear the familiar songs and see the familiar faces of home 10,000 miles away. You see what I mean about every contribution, every fair share having a lot of work to do?
Yes, I can see that. But here's something else. How much of the money goes to people who actually need help, and how much...
And how much for collection costs? Well, I'm glad you asked. Collection costs are far lower when there's only one campaign for all those agencies, instead of many separate campaigns. The result? A saving of campaign expenses that releases just that much more money to serve the people who need help.
Good. I happen to think saving money is pretty important. But I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of strapped. Maybe later.
All I'm asking from you right now is your signature on a pledge card. You spread your fair share contribution over a year's time to help supply all the needs that a year's time will bring. For instance, families in trouble who simply don't know how to cope with the problems life has dumped in their laps. One out of hundreds, a family on the verge of breaking up. Part of the problem, a retarded 4-year-old. Only a trained family counselor can help once things have reached this stage. And the family will meet with the social worker many times, both in the home and at the office.
We're always making excuses for him. But the fact is, Danny can't do anything other kids can do.
It's not Danny's fault.
In special schools, we've been able to work wonders with the children.
The counselor will see to it that this child will get help from the agency that can do the most for him. In that way, the main source of the family's problems can be dealt with. Your fair share helps keep up the work that's being done for children who would become hopelessly dependent if there were no one to do this work. But that's not the end of the problem for the family. With things at least under control, the family service counselor continues to work with the parents toward a better adjustment in the home. This, too, is part of what your fair share accomplishes.
Now that Danny is responding well, we'll have to think of the kind of future he may have.
I guess I get the idea. There's a pretty big job to be done, and we all have to chip in. But how much? You say fair share. Well, what is my fair share?
That depends on how much you earn. Only you can say. Here's a scale of giving to go by. You give according to your ability. And stretched out over a year's time, it's a lot easier.
Okay, I'm good for my fair share. Hey, what's the matter? You look kind of nervous.
Well, I am a little bit. Like I said, it's a brand new part for me.
Well, I guess you get okay with me. You got the pledge.
Yes, and that's the main thing. Thanks. So, that's the end of my part, the make-believe part. From now on, it's for real. But in the real-life department, I won't be there. A volunteer from your United campaign will take my place. But it's up to you. You're going to be the featured player in that drama. Mine has only been a supporting role, not a role that counts. So when your own local volunteer worker comes around and asks for your United campaign pledge, question him, sure, but give him a sympathetic ear. He's doing a big job. I just hope I've made it a little easier for him. A lot of people like these need a better break. Will they be helped? The answer is yes, if you and all of us reach out to them with our fair share pledges.
That was a little weird at the end. The shop guy going, "Why do you look nervous?" Yeah, very strange. Calvin Productions. So these have been things that Prelinger Archives has been scanning. And so some of these we've not seen before. So I'm excited to show them. Here's Library World. And supposedly I showed Library World 2nd edition. But I don't think this is the 2nd edition. I think this is the 1st edition. So maybe we've never seen this before. And if we have, it's been a couple of years. So Library World, enjoy.
Hey, Stephanie, how'd you go to the park to play baseball? Zappy, but I gotta take this book to the library today. Oh, well, maybe next week. How about if we go to the library on the way to the park? Okay, but I'll only stay at the library for a minute. I'll go get my bike and my gloves. I'll wait out here. Going in the library gives me the creep. Okay. And hurry!
Hi.
To return these books. Thank you. Thank you. Hello? I'd like to return this book that I bought.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to check out another one while you're here?
No, I better come back another time. My friend's waiting for me outside, and she thinks that libraries are boring.
Oh, he does. Well, I'm afraid that he's quite mistaken.
I really like that book.
Maybe next time you'll have more time, you can find another one you like just as well.
Yeah. I really like your car out there.
Oh, wow, thanks a lot. It's taken me a long time to put it together.
Wow, you built it yourself?
Yeah, I built the whole thing.
You work in here?
I sure do.
Okay, I'm ready to go, Brian. Hold on a minute. I'm looking at a new display.
Are you interested in the Civil War?
Yeah. Kinda. Is that a real rifle?
Not only is this a real rifle, this was used in the Civil War. If you want to find out more about the Civil War, you've come to the right place. Come on, I'll show you some books on the Civil War.
We ought to be going, actually.
Ah, come on. There's lots to learn about in the library. With a little imagination, everything comes to life. We're coming up to the books on the Civil War now. Or if you're not interested in the Civil War, we've got whatever you are interested in. What would you like to learn more about?
Animals and pets. Yeah, animals and pets.
That's right on this row over here. Here's a book on animals right here.
This is okay for some people, but you can't find what I like in here. It's outside, like race cars, and that car you've got.
Hey, how do you think I learned enough to put my hot rod together? It doesn't matter what you want to find out. You can learn more about it in the library. Race cars are right over here. You see, there's lots to learn about in the library, even race cars.
That is all right.
We've got material on just about everything, and if we don't, we can help you find it. Down this aisle over here, we get into space technology. See, the library doesn't have to be boring. It really is a fun place. Just look around you. Anything you'd ever want to know is right here.
This is great, but if I want to find something in the library, how would I go about doing it with so many different things in here?
That's a good question. It'd be pretty difficult to find anything in the library if it weren't for the classification system. Come on, I'll show you. You see, the books aren't just thrown together. They're grouped together by subjects and labeled with numbers. Let me show you what I mean. When a new book comes into the library, we give it a number and make 3 cards. On one card, we write the title of the book and the book's number. On another card, we write the name of the author and the book's number. And on the third card, we write the subject matter, such as history, science, sports, and the book's number.
So there's usually 3 cards for every book in the catalog.
That's right, except with fiction. You know, books about make-believe people and imaginary stories. With fiction, we have only 2 cards. On one, we write the title of the book, and on the other, we write the author's name.
Where do you write the book's number?
With fiction, we don't use numbers. The books are put on the shelf in alphabetical order by the author's last name.
So if I want to find a book on scuba diving and underwater exploration, what do I do?
Well, you'd look in the card catalog file for underwater exploration. Why don't you try it? Let's see if you can find a book you'd like.
Here's the book I want. What do I do now?
Write down the call number which catalogs the book. That's this number in the upper left-hand corner. Write that down.
Let's go find the book.
Okie doke.
I found it!
If you want to find the most current material on a subject, you should look in the Reader's Guide to Periodical Literature.
The what to the what?
Let me show you what I mean. The Reader's Guide makes it easy to find magazine articles. It lists the articles by subject, author, or title.
That's just how they organize the card catalog, isn't it?
That's right. And magazines give you the most current news on almost any given subject. Let me show you a really neat article on flight.
Wow.
We also have old magazines, so you can find out things from the past. Or we even have newspapers in the library. This is the microfilm machine, which allows us to look at newspapers from the past. We've got some newspapers from over 50 years ago. We don't have enough room to store every single newspaper, so we photograph them onto microfilm for storage.
Of life, I think I have an answer to American Christians. I'm convinced that love is the highest good. All right. So John is right. God is love.
We can find out what happened on almost any given day in any year.
There's sure a lot I didn't know about the library.
There's a lot to know about the library. The reference books available, for instance. These general reference books, like the Almanac or the Encyclopedia or the Who's Who, help you find out exactly what you want to know.
But there's so many things in the library, how can you remember all the things that are here?
Well, that's what the librarians are for, to help you find anything that you can't find yourself. The librarian is here to help you.
And I thought that librarians were just here to keep everyone quiet.
Well, it's okay to talk in the library, but there are other people here trying to study, so you want to keep the noise down.
The library has just about everything in writing, doesn't it?
Yep, but even that's not all. Many libraries now have audio-visual centers. Records, tapes, and films. Here, we have all kinds of music. Try these. I think you'll like them. Let's go. Over here, we've got an entire library of films. I'll show you a real funny one.
Okay, we can go to the park any old time.
Aren't you forgetting something? Didn't you want to check out this book on scuba diving?
Sure.
Do you have a library card?
Yeah? Well, I've never used it before.
Well, it's about time you got started. The library card's one of the most valuable things you've got. Well, I'm glad you found out what the library is all about. We'll see you guys around.
Thanks a lot.
There you are. Your book's checked out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love it. Man, that AV section at the end, so great. Also to be able to listen to LPs on headphones, those giant headphones, was a good time. I love local libraries, and I think a local library saved my life as a kid. It really put me on a track. Not quite sure at the time what I was doing, but I love going and checking out books on trivia and technology and the occult, of course. That's what you do when you're in the 8th grade. And I read a whole bunch as a kid. So now not so much, but it definitely set me on this path of appreciating knowledge. And so collecting a bunch of educational films is certainly part of that. All right, this next film is kind of interesting. I got it from a collection in Pennsylvania. It was like a library that was multiple counties kind of shared this resource, and they got rid of the films, and I went and got probably 1,500 films from there. And so there's always interesting things in there, but these were specifically made for the region, and so I like films like that because they're kind of rare and you can't find information about them. So this is The Law, The Environment, and you. Enjoy.
From the beginning of time, man has tried to make changes in the environment in which he finds himself. Indeed, man has progressed and become civilized, the only animal able to make such changes. People build buildings to live, work, and play in. People change the courses and flows of rivers in order to use the water. People move the earth around to use its elements where they are needed. As more and more people have sought to make more and more changes, they have learned that change is not always good. People have learned some situations when bad results are likely to occur, and have written laws to control those situations. Sometimes bad things and good things come in the same package. With jobs and prosperity may come air and water pollution. With the speed of the jet plane come the noises of its engines. Many of our political processes have come about to help people decide what they really want and need from their environments. This is the world's largest coke byproducts plant, operated at Clairton, Pennsylvania by the United States Steel Corporation. For many years it has provided steady jobs for people up and down the Monongahela River Valley. It has also provided them, according to some studies, with heart and lung diseases because of the smoke from its ovens. The people have been willing to live with the smoke because, as a valley saying goes, dust in the air means food on the table. But the people will not have to live with the smoke from the ovens much longer.
It all began in January when the concerned citizens of the Mon Valley had a meeting trying to drum up support to fight the Clairton Coke Works legally. In fact, another name for the concerned citizens was the ad hoc committee to fight pollution from the Clairton Coke Works. At the same time, the county and state were preparing what their attorneys called was a landmark lawsuit, seeking not punitive or financial damages, but a court injunction forcing U.S. Steel to clean up the Coke Works. And there was sort of a lull while state and county attorneys went and gathered depositions from an estimated 200 people here in the valley. In April, Judge Silvestri heard the preliminary arguments on the 6 counts in the suit and upheld 5 of them. And in essence, he said, 1, you can't fine U.S. Steel $300 a day because this is insignificant to him. 2, you couldn't jail the chairman of the board of United States Steel. What would that accomplish? 3, you couldn't close a plant which employs 3,000 people and at the same time is a feeder for all the mills that are in this valley. And that involves tens of thousands of steel workers. And he said basically we can't let pollution continue killing people and damaging property in this area. What he said in essence was that the parties for all sides had to get together in chambers and negotiate a settlement. Right now, U.S. Steel is in the process of preparing a plan in which they will try to alleviate these 3 pollutant sources, and the first phase is supposed to become effective within a year.
Many of the concerned citizens of the Mon Valley were also affiliated with the Pittsburgh area Group Against Smog and Pollution, better known as GASP.
In air pollution, in October of 1969, there was a new air pollution control law being written for the county of Allegheny. It was known as Article 17. The proposed law was brought forth in a public hearing, and at that time we felt that the people who founded GASP felt that there should be some changes made to include some very basic things that industry should be forced to do, or at least check into doing. We came away with a pretty good feeling. We came away with a very good law in Article 17.
Many organizations are interested in environmental action. The United Steelworkers of America local in Clairton cared about its members, so the union joined the fight for clean air.
A local union here, I feel, played a major role in gaining the court decrees over the previous experience that we already had instituted. Now, way back in 1968, we went into our negotiations and tried to get the company to move in this area about cleaning up the coke works to preserve the health of the members that work there.
Could you tell us about that survey that you took?
Well, I made a survey of the number of men who had died and what they had died from. And of all the men who had died, They either had died from lung cancer, tuberculosis, emphysema, or heart disease. And the ones who had been, who had went out on disability were on disability from either lung cancer or tuberculosis. They were told that as long as there was smoke, there were jobs. As long as you see smoke. But we found out that smoke means death. And we're more concerned about the lives of the men, because the basic thing of life is living, and a job is no good to you if you're dead.
When companies agree to clean up, environmentalists keep track of their progress.
Well, of course, Duquesne Light is a power company. They had coal generating stations, and these, of course, are very dirty, depending on the type of coal used. They are either switching to very low sulfur coal, they are switching over to oil in some cases, adding on precipitators and other devices that will curtail the smoke, the particulate matter, as well as the gases that are emitted.
Pittsburgh's Group Against Smog and Pollution held a meeting to give advice to people from all over the country who wanted to do something to help clean up.
A couple of us went down to our biggest TV station. We got an appointment with the general manager. He holds weight in this community. He has what we call clout. I said, look, we have a message to get across to this community. It may be the most important message this community has ever heard. I want you to tell me how to do it. And he did. That is the beauty of this thing. He really did. He said, I want you, nose to nose, to get to know my editors, my spot writers, my news people, and he gave us the names and phone numbers. And then, you see, when we call up these guys, we say, Ed Wallace asked us to call. And you get immediately, front and center, whatever you want, you get.
Marty and I and whatever other lawyers we could scrape together at the moment attended these variance court hearings, where really the job of the lawyer was to know very little law, a very limited knowledge of any kind of law was required. What was required was time, a willingness to appear in public and shoot off your mouth and cross-examine polluters and learn about things that you never heard about before, like sulfur dioxide and particulate matter and millions of BTUs per hour, et cetera, And as I say, we moved along in fits and starts, and I think having some notable successes, a post was created through the efforts of GASP, and Larry DeMacy was appointed as a full-time anti-pollution lawyer for the county.
Why has GASP succeeded?
What we did was find out the facts. A saying that I usually use is just the facts, ma'am, just the facts, because that if you go in to a hearing, if you go into the county, if you go into industry offices with facts and let them know that you're aware of what they're doing and not doing and what's available, it's amazing the results you get.
We've heard what private people and local and county governments can do. The state of Pennsylvania can also help with its environmental strike force.
How would a private citizen get into the work of the environmental strike force?
Well, there are a number of ways to do that, really. The simplest way, really, is to call one of our regional offices, which are located in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Harrisburg, and talk to one of the attorneys, or to write that office and to set out the nature of the complaint that the individual citizen has. I would urge somebody to not let it go at that. We are terribly busy. There are 15 or 20,000 different sources in the Commonwealth, many of which are in violation, and there are only 30 lawyers. But many times the citizen complaint is a serious problem. It's one that should be at the top of our priority list and is not for some reason. And so we're eager to work with the citizen to get that case to a point where we can prosecute the violator of the law.
The United States government is heavily involved in the environment. Some national agencies actively work for environmental improvement. Some promote efforts that can be harmful to the environment. Roy Frank, a foreman at an oil refinery, heard about a proposal to establish a sanitary landfill in Pennsylvania's Allegheny National Forest. As a sportsman and conservationist, he thought the landfill was a bad idea and decided to try to do something about it.
looked into the matter and found that the Warren County had approved it, the Department of Environmental Resources in the state had approved it, whereupon I called the Environmental Protection Agency at Philadelphia for northeastern United States. I proceeded to ask them how a state department could approve a project in a national forest, or how the engineer for the county could state that they would not accept any of this solid waste from any other county other than their immediate area, because this land belongs to 200 million citizens, not just to the people of Warren County alone.
Why did you decide to use the landfill method of disposal of waste?
The decision to take or follow that direction by the present Warren County Solid Waste Authority was somewhat guided by the findings of several years of study of the Warren County Solid Waste Advisory Committee. This committee was comprised of residents from within the county. From those findings and then a development of what has now been referred to as the Warren County Solid Waste Management Plan, which has been approved by the Commonwealth, directs us to the sanitary landfill as the most immediate, practical, and economical solution at this point in time.
Our regulations specifically provide for the use of a disposal site, and numerous special use permits have been issued over the years for such uses. I was personally involved with one as far back as 1961 or 1962 in the issuance of a site to a small community. To the best of my knowledge, within the national forest in the eastern part of the United States, there are now about 100 such permits. The environmental impact statement that I hold here is a requirement of the National Environmental Policy Act of 1969, and it requires that the federal government, in proposing actions or considering actions that deal with new legislation or that will have major environmental impacts, prepare this statement and submit it in draft form to all interested parties who might have some input into that particular consideration. It requires that we look at the alternatives for doing whatever proposal it is that we have. This environmental statement was prepared and submitted as required under the National Environmental Policy Act.
The procedure for preparing an environmental impact statement includes a public hearing.
Might I ask what legality this meeting has? Is there a federal hearing examiner here?
We've been instructed to hold this meeting by the Environmental Protection Agency, and they have not directed us one way or the other as to federal hearing examiners. If you wish to challenge the legality of this hearing, you're perfectly welcome to do so on the record. However, please do not hold up everybody here.
It appears questionable that the Warren County Solid Waste Authority should be conducting this public hearing rather than the United States Forest Service or the Environmental Protection Agency. This is rather like having the fox guard the chicken coop. The Allegheny National Forest was created to protect the watershed of the Allegheny River, a so-called clean stream and source of Pittsburgh and other communities' water supply. We do not come here to argue the merits of one site or another for landfill dumps because they all cause problems, and we think they are steps in the wrong direction. Unless we soon halt our abuse of the earth and its resources, we may let pollution nibble us to death. A closer and more immediate danger is the adaptation of some people to accept these abuses as a way of life and give up looking for better solutions. Because adaptation to pollution is made in small fits, we see each giving in as only a minor loss. But in the end, we have our fortune, our environment, taken away.
Youngsville is presently operating its own disposal system, giving 100% collection to residents and business However, we have found it necessary to use 2 privately owned landfills out of the county. And these licensed landfills apparently operating in accordance with state requirements, but could be cited momentarily. Therefore, on behalf of the council and as mayor of Youngsville, I urge your immediate approval of the Gunterville land site.
We are in full agreement that the Warren County Solid Waste Authority, that a county-wide system of waste collection and disposal is an extremely desirable goal insofar as it would eliminate the use and continued establishment of substandard dumps. On the other hand, we're not convinced that the best mode of disposal is the establishment of a total landfill operation.
We believe that the authority has a program which all of us should support. We of Valentine Disposal firmly support the application for the special use permit. Thank you.
The result of the hearing was a final, revised environmental impact statement on the proposed landfill.
Our authority has received a grant from the Environmental Protection Agency in the amount of $250,000 as a demonstration operation of a sanitary landfill. Again, the granting of this grant, so to speak, is contingent upon our receiving a special use permit from the United States Forest Service.
I would still continue to oppose landfills no matter where they might be located. They're proposing landfills now in our local area, and they've proposed in several townships, and of course a great uproar arises from those township residents. If we can put on a large-scale collection centers, they say these are only temporary measures. Well, how long is temporary? If you have to start, why not start right now?
At the time this film was made, there had been no decision on whether or not to put the landfill in the national forest. But the issues were and are clear. Solid waste is a problem that will not go away. Do you agree with Roy Frank, who says that recycling must begin somewhere? Or do you agree with the Warren County Solid Waste Authority, which says it can't wait for recycling and has developed a plan for the landfill which it believes to be environmentally sound? Could it be that both sides have raised some good points? Are the laws and the political process responding to the needs of people and the environment in today's world?
Yeah, so we set up a recording. So if you could just noodle on the piano for about 2 minutes, that'd be great. A fascinating film, but only in the fact that it exists and not necessarily one that I will ever watch again. There was some beautiful, horrible footage of some pollution of the steel mills and some people, but man, those hearings were, oof. Let's jazz up your life a little bit with the danger, the implicit danger of poor tires. Enjoy.
This country of ours is quite a place. Vast, beautiful, exciting, historic. Everywhere you look, people are on the go. For fun, to work. A million places to go. Mostly they go by automobile. For the family car has literally become a way of life. Driving can and should be fun. The freedom, the change, the adventure of it. All too often, the dream becomes a nightmare. In town, cross country, it happens every day. This year, every year, more than 50,000 people will be killed. This day, every day, more than 142 people will drive for the last time. Tragic? You bet your life it is. And we haven't even mentioned the 1.5 million injured each year. Why? What causes it? Carelessness, mainly. Too much speed. Loss of control. The inability to stop. Tires, inadequate or worn. Even at low speed, this can happen. Every time anyone drives your car, you, your wife, your teenage son or daughter, the hazard is there. Think about it a minute. You have 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 feet, and a control center. All to steer 2 tons of high-powered metal between, alongside of, close to, and in front of thousands of other cars. In all states of repair, driven at all speeds, by all kinds of drivers. The thoughtless, the heedless, the preoccupied, even the little lady with a heavy foot. Each a menace, each makes good tires a must. Every time you stop, your tires do the job. In stopping, the full braking force is concentrated in a spot scarcely larger than your own footprint. Every time you make a turn, your tires must hold the road. At 60 miles an hour, a 2-ton force tries to rip your tires apart. Most days, your tire temperature reaches 240 degrees. No place for materials that can't fight back. Every year, many people are killed or injured, making roadside tire repairs. Every time a tire fails, risk is there. That's why thoughtful people take time to get the facts, to compare tires, to weigh the difference. Consider the famous puncture-sealing General Dual 90, the safety tire that was built to reduce accidents and save lives. The Dual 90 is different, and the difference may be a matter of life and death to you and your family. Compare a stack of 10 mass-produced tires with a stack of 10 Dual 90s. A difference? You bet your life. The Dual 90's extra strength comes from Nigen, General's exclusive processed nylon. Nigen is stronger than nylon, just as steel is stronger than iron. Heat caused by flexing is one of the major threats to tire life and safety. Moisture seeping in through tiny cuts is another. Nigen cord checks both. Shrugs off heat, is virtually immune to water damage. Construction is important too. General's exclusive shock-absorbing construction interlocks to meet hammering impact with the whole strength of the tire, not with the weakness of just one part. There are other differences, too. Twin treads, for instance. Conventional tires roll here on a single tread. The Dual 90 puts 2 treads on the road to divide and share the load for steering, stability, and emergency stopping power. 2 treads thrust 504 ribbed segments against the road surface with more than 5,200 biting traction angles. Then there's Duragen tread rubber. Duragen with polybutadiene, the strongest, toughest rubber General Tire has developed in 50 years of research. Tread depth is important too. The Dual 90 has more than 27% greater tread depth than ordinary tires for mileage, for stopping ability. More convenience and safety too. Puncture sealing safety. The Dual 90 Strataseal sandwich type sealant seals punctures as it rolls. This then is the magnificent, incomparable puncture sealing General Dual 90. Built at extra cost of the finest materials available to most exacting quality standards. With the biggest difference of all in mind, performance. The kind of performance that means peace of mind, protection, which is all important when you consider the cargo your Dual 90s will carry. If you value your family, those you love, your own life, and the other driver, there's only one choice, the best. In today's traffic, only the best is good enough. With less, you can bet your life. The answer? Get and keep good tires on your car. Get General Tire's best, the puncture sealing Dual 90. Then drive safely, courteously, and defensively. Put the pleasure back into pleasure driving. See America, but see it safely.
Man, Mom's hair was awesome. That was quite something. And so many car accidents in there. Beautiful stage car accidents. Beautifully filmed. So, big fan. Not a fan of real car accidents, but I'm a fan of stage ones. They're beautiful. Well, thanks for joining us today. I very much appreciate your eyeballs, and hopefully I distracted you some from headlines. You can go back and continue reading those if you would like. I'm not. I'm going to go through the comments of what you guys wrote, and appreciate that. Thank you so much also for the donations, Nathan, and others. You can donate via the Super Thanks button. You can go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. You can also go to hitting the thumbs up button, the like button, subscribe, all those wonderful things are ways to support us, but also just watching and commenting, sharing. I appreciate that. That's really special. So we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, right? Well, am I going to do something special tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe. So everybody take care, and we will see you soon.